Swakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakham Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Janmadhyasya yatonvayaditaratas Charte subhigyaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muyanti Yat Suraya Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimaya Yatra Trisarvam Vrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirastakuvakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Swasti Astu Vishwasya Khala Prasidatam Dhyayantu Bhutani Shivam Mitho Dhiya Manasya Bhadram Bhajata Dadhokshaje Avishyatam No Matirapyahetuki. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 19, verse number 26. This is continuation of the praise or glorification given by Devas, the demigods, about India. Because in this chapter there was a description of the earth, planet and its various divisions. And one division is called Bharatavarsa, which is India. And we read how they were saying that it is very fortunate to take birth here because one can engage in devotional service to Supreme Lord Krishna. And in a very short period of life, one can go beyond the highest planet in this material world, which is Brahmaloka, and attain to Vaikuntha. But if after taking birth here one does not engage in devotional service, then that is also very lamentable. Otherwise, why be here? And then he said that one should not live in a place where there is no opportunity to hear about Krishna Katha. Because you can only hear newspaper Katha and television Katha or some other Facebook Katha. So he says that don't live in such a place, don't live in a place where there are no devotees to associate with. Don't live in a place where there are no festivals of doing yajna to worship the Lord. So, says life is not meant for anything else. So then this verse they further speak the fortune of being in this land. Yai Shraddhaya Barhishi Bhagasho Havir Niruttam Ishtam Vidhi Mantra Vastutaha Ekar Pratham Nam Bhirahuto Muda Girnati Purna Swam Ashisham Prabhu. So he says that the people of this land, with faith, they perform yajna, in which they offer oblations to various deities, Indra, Varuna, Chandra, Surya, etc. So, Barhisi Bhagsho Havir, by Vidhi Mantra, Vastuta, by chanting proper mantras, following the proper procedure of doing it. And by doing this, there is actually only one Lord who is worshipped. So he says, Ekaha pratham nama bhirahuto mudagranati. And Lord personally comes and accepts these offerings happily. So Purna Swam Ashisham Prabhu, that Lord who is complete in himself, and he blesses them. So this is the greatness. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Atra Bharate Ekatvena Prithakatvena Bahuda Vishwato Mukham इत्यादि श्री भगवदुक्तां भगवत विभूति बुद्धिया विश्वरूपोपासनामपि कुर्वाणा धन्या ये नित्या. So he says that there is a statement he quotes from Bhagavad Gita that there are various types of worshippers. Those of you who will go to Kumbh Mela now, you will see so much variety. All types of people, Naga Babas, Vaishnavas, Advait Vedantis, Yogis, and in the Yogis also so much variety. Some people are doing yajnas, some people chanting mantras, some people are just keeping pot on their hand and walking, some people are lifting their hand up into the air for the last 20 years. So somebody is standing on one leg, somebody is sitting in the midst of fire, somebody goes and stands in the river up to the neck and chants mantra. So all this variety you will see. So that's what it says, Ekatvena Prithakatvena Bahudha Vishwato Mukham. So it says some people are worshipping one, some people are worshipping many, and some people are worshipping the universal form of the God. So he says, this is spoken by Lord Krishna himself. So in this way, if one worships the Lord through his vibhuti, one is to worship the Lord directly. That is the best. Other is you worship the Lord through his vibhuti, his majestic manifestations. Means you worship Ganesh, you worship Durga, Kali, but you know that it is actually a manifestation of them, not one Lord only. That must be understood. Otherwise you can also get confused. So he says that Lord, such people are also fortunate. Barhishi yagye vidhina prakarena mantrena vastutascha havir yagye dravyam ishtam shuddham bhamshendraya swaha agne swaha ityadikam prathakritam niruktam dattam purno api ashisham prabhu havistesam bhakta granati. So some people are doing yagya properly. So they are performing oblations and they are chanting mantra Indraya Swaha, Indraya Idam Namama. That this is for Indra, not for me. Varuna Swaha, Surya Swaha, Agni Swaha. So in this way they are worshipping, but it is Lord who accepts them. And that is the meaning of doing it properly. Means doing with this intention that Indra, Surya, Agni, they are all manifestations of one Lord. So, Prithak Indradi Namabhi Rahuta. So he is being called through the various names. There is a statement in Skanda Purana where it says that all these names, Indra, Brahma, Shiva, Nilkantha, they are actually name of Krishna. But some names he kept for himself and some he gave to these other people. He said you can use these names, no problem. Otherwise, if you take the primary meaning of the word Indra etymologically, then it all means supreme. Because Brahma means who is great or who is the greatest, Indra means who is opulent. So Surya means who is the source. Shiva means auspicious. So these are all names of Krishna. But some names have become popular for others. So he says that when these mantras are chanted, Indraya Swaha, so some people think this is for Indra. or Surya Swaha, they think it is for sun, or Agni Swaha, this is for fire. But those who have proper understanding, they know that this is only for Krishna, these are different names which have been used for others. So therefore, when you have that consciousness, then he comes and he accepts. So this is worshipping through different forms, Prithakatvena. And then worshipping him directly, that is described in the next one. Satyam disti arthitam arthito nirnam naivarthado yat punararthitayataha swayam vidhatte bhajatam anicchatam ichchapidhanam nijapada pallavam. It is true that if you pray to the Lord, then he grants it. Satyam disti arthitam arthito nirnam naivarthado yat punar arthitayata. But then what happens that people pray for something, and that something obviously is not lasting long, unless of course it is devotion, love. And then the person will ask again. So therefore he says that Naivarthado yat punararthita yata. So Lord is giving, but he is not giving in the sense that after some time the person comes back, please give me more. So then what Lord does is that Swam vidhatte bhajtam anicchatam ichchapidhanam nijapada. When he realizes this, although the person is not asking for it, but he gives without asking a thing that he will not ask again. So what he gives his foot, and he gives his foot on the very place from where the desires come, and he closes it. So no more desires. So ichchapidhanam, he puts like a lid over the desires. So then you don't ask. That means he gives his devotion. And once you have devotion to the Lord, then you don't ask for anything else because you feel so satisfied. That is the meaning of love, because love of God is the only thing which can make you fulfilled and nothing else. Otherwise you have so many demands, and even if your desires are fulfilled, then after a few seconds some new desires will come. If I ask you that you make a list of all your desires, and suppose they are filled in a second, then what will happen? You will create more desires. So that is, what is that called, that you take some genes from somebody and you create cloning.
Cloning, yeah.
So these desires, they have the cloning ability, that they never die. Before they die, they leave a clone. Then it comes up. So in the Puranas there is a story that there was an Asura, and in this Asura he got a boon that if he fights with somebody and if his blood falls on the ground, then 100 similar Bundasuras will be born. So that is the cloning idea. So then Devi, she killed him because he will fight and anybody shoots an arrow or something at him and then he gets 100 more. So then Devi took the club and smashed him to death without bleeding. So there was no chance of cloning. So she decloned him. So that is the meaning of removing the desires. So therefore Krishna is also called Kamadeva. Kama means desire, and Deva is Lord, He is the Lord of desire. So once you have Him, then all your desires are fulfilled. Then don't hanker for this, hanker for that, because there is no more space remaining in you for any desires. You become so full. So therefore he says that Ichhapidhanam Padapallavam. So that is Lord's grace. Like Dhruv Maharaj, he was a small boy and he was insulted by his stepmother, and he became very upset and he decided to take revenge. And he asked his mother that who is greater than my father? I want a kingdom bigger than my father, because he was sitting in the lap of his father and the stepmother came and threw him out from the lap. He said that you are not qualified to sit in the lap because you are not born from me. And if you want to be born, if you have a desire to sit in the lap of my husband, you should take birth from him. This means you should die and take another birth. So the boy felt very insulted and angry and frustrated, because what could he do? And the father was under the control of his wife, so he didn't speak a word. So he went crying to his mother and told everything, and then mother also could not do anything because the father was favoring the other wife. So he asked mother, who can help me? I want a bigger kingdom than my father and want to show. So he says that only Lord Krishna. And said, where is Lord Krishna? So like in India they say, oh, he lives in the forest. Anyway, Krishna lives in Vrindavan, which was a forest. So he came to Vrindavan. There are 12 forests here, or at least used to be. One of them is Madhuvan. So he came to Madhuvan here and he did very severe austerities on the bank of Yamuna. And finally Lord appeared to him. But as soon as he saw the Lord, he forgot about his desire. So Lord asked him, my dear boy, what do you want? So he says, I don't want anything. Samin kritarthasmi varam maya. He says, I am completely happy, I don't want anything. So he says, no, you take something from me, I have come. He says, no. So even then Lord, he gave him the kingdom of Dhruva, this pole star. In Sanskrit this is called Dhruva, because Dhruva means fixed. This is the star which is fixed. So even in the past, the ships, they used to follow the star and know the direction. So that is the meaning that Lord, He gives you so much that you don't ask for it again. So there is no need of running here and there, worship this, worship that, do this chanting, that mantra. Just Asti Pada Sarvas, Asti Pade Sarva Padani Manna. You have the elephant's footprint, all other footprints can be part of it, big. Others are small ones. So we read the commentary. Shuddham bhaktim kurvanastu sakamapi kritartha niskam bhaktulya eva bhavanti tyahu satyam. So previously he was talking about mixed devotion, because worshipping different devas, and now he says that if you engage in pure devotion, means only devotion to Lord and not worshipping this, worshipping that. That is the meaning of pure devotion here. Pure devotion usually means performing devotion without any other desires. But here what he means is that performing devotion only to Krishna and not to anyone else. He says even if you have material desires, you will become free from that material desire. And you will come to Niskam Bhakti, or devotion without any desires. Nirnam bhajtam arthitam kamitam padartham tairarthitasan dishati dadati iti satyam. So he says when Lord worship with devotion like this, and even having a material motive, then Lord gives it, this is a fact. Kintu yad yatha punararthita bhogante yachkatvam syat tatha naivardhana. But if somebody comes to me and asks $10, I give him $10. Then again he comes next day and asks $10, then it looks like I didn't give him $10. But he's coming again. So he says, you ask something material, Lord gives, and then he comes and asks again, that means he has not really given. Because the person is still coming. So he doesn't want to be like that. Katham evam avgatam ityaha yatah nij padapallavam anichyatam api bhajtam swameva dhruvadinamiva ichchapidhanam sarvakamaachadkam. So why he is not a giver like this? He says because he gives his own food. Although the person is not desiring, gives his own food means gives his own devotional service. That is the meaning. So when one gets devotional service to the Lord, which means one gets the desire to serve the Lord, which is a symptom of love, because love means to do service, then he forgets everything else, because service is that which pleases most. When you serve with sincerity, that gives immense pleasure. There is nothing which is more pleasing than doing service. So then they don't want anything. So Lord forces it on them. Balad dattva ichhaya pidanam achadnam vidhatte karoti. Tatascha anabhipsatam api sita sarkaram pituhu shakashat prapya shishvo yatham mridi spriham tajanti tatheva kamanapi. So he gives a very nice example. Of course this is an Indian example, so you have to imagine a little bit. This will not happen in the West. In India, children are playing in the street on the ground. You don't see that. First of all, you don't see mud in the West, even there is grass. You don't see open ground there. Sand or clay. So they play, and sometimes small kids, they eat clay. Krishna was also eating. So he is eating clay and he is enjoying it. So father comes and takes the clay out of the mouth of the baby and gives him laddu, sweet. And the baby starts eating the sweet and he forgets about the clay. So baby was not asking for the sweet, he was only happy with the clay. So clay is these material desires. And then comes the sweet, that is devotion. So then as he gives up the clay and completely forgets, and he relishes the sweet very much. Children like sweets, grown-ups also. Yes? So then no more interest in eating clay. Therefore it is said earlier in second canto that akamaha sarva kamava moksha kamudaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajayata purusham. That whether you have some desire or you have desire for moksha, liberation, or you have no desires, does not matter what you are, you should worship only Krishna. with full force. Sativrena yajeta purusham param, the Supreme Person. There is no need. So in this chapter he gives first a list that if you want a good wife, then worship Shiva. If you want the good speaker, worship Saraswati. If you want wealth, worship Ganesh. So all types of deities are mentioned there. Then after stating all this, then Sukadeva Goswami gives a conclusion. He says, now I give the tattva, the essence. That whether you have many desires, you have no desire, you desire liberation, just worship Krishna. So Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purusham. So that is what is being said. Gan Karmadi Mishrena Amishrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta. So Tivrena with full force means without mixing it with anything else. So means pure. So without diluting. So take the pure nectar. So sometimes you dilute, you take juice and you also dilute it. He's talking about pure. So diluting means I worship this also, I worship that also, let me also chant this mantra. This is for good health, this is for keeping my mind peaceful, this will balance my vata. So all these things. And then you're also doing bhakti. So he says, no mixture, just pure. Atra nishkamanam sakamanam cha bhaktanam antatah padapallava praptavopi naiv sarvatha aikarupyam bhavani. So he now makes a very important point. He says, although it looks like that even those who are sakam bhaktas or those who start devotion with a material desire, they also become free from material desire. And those who are starting without any material desire, they are free from material desire. So it looks like in the end both are same. So he says, but that is not true. Although both become niskam, but one is more dear to the Lord than the other. So nahi jatya eva shuddham balat sodhitam cha vastu tulyam mulyam bhavati ato dhruvadibhya sakashad hanumadadinam utkarsha parameva nishyate. So he says that one is clean to begin with, and then there is something which was mixed and you cleaned it, and that also by force. They don't have the same value. So he says, therefore you should not think that Dhruva is a devotee on par with Hanuman. So Hanuman has no material desires. Finally Dhruva also had no material desires, but Dhruva began with material desires. So Dhruva is not equal to Hanuman in devotion to Hanuman. So this distinction we should know, otherwise it looks like there is a difference. Let me also harbor some material desires now, and later on I will become purified. So yes, you will become purified, but still you will not be equal to those who began without any impurity. So that should be understood from this. So then the next verse is Yadiyatra na swarga sukhavesh avsheshitam svishtasya suktasya kritasya shobhanam tena janabhe smitim jasmiti majjanmana shad varshe havi adbhartam shamtanoti. So now they are praying personally, and they are saying that we are here in heaven, because these are devas speaking, they are in the heavenly planet, and you go to heaven by doing some pious deeds, charity, social welfare, sacrificing yourself to do good to others, then you go to heaven. And you live there for a very long time. And when your piety credit is over, then you are quietly sent back to earth. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for visiting us. Now please go ahead. So the devas are saying that we are here in heaven. Definitely we must have done some piety. He says, now if there is some piety remaining in our account, so we are praying that by the influence of that piety, please give us birth in India. So why? So that we can also go to Kumbh Mela and worship Lord Hari. So he says, please give us birth in India so that we can remember you. And why you want to remember me? He says, by remembering you, everything auspicious happens. So it is said that the test of human life is that you remember Lord Krishna at the time of death. Ante Narayana Smriti. So remembering God, that is the perfection of life. At present, our memory is very weak. Therefore we forget God very quickly. Even while we are doing puja, we are chanting, we forget Him. We remember other things. So this shows that how weak is our memory. That there is God right in front of us and we are thinking of something else. So our memory is very weak. Our minds are very flickering, fickle-minded. So he says that please give us this birth, and birth, he says, with memory. So that's why cow milk and cow ghee is important. Why in India they worship cow? Because cow's milk gives memory of God. That is the importance. It has some power in it. That if you take cow milk and cow ghee, then your brain has the power to remember God. So he says, please give us this birth where we can remember and all auspiciousness comes. So the commentary says, Ateva prarthyante yadyatrati. Therefore the devas, they are concluding their prayers in this verse. Svishtasya iti svishtadi janyat swarg sukhad ubbhuktad avsheshitam. So Svishtasya means some yagya they had performed in their past life by which they have come here. So if something is remaining from that piety, shognam sukritam asti, and suktasya kritasya sognam, and some good other good deeds they may have done, then ajanabhe bharate janma syat. The old name of India was Ajanab. So that Ajanab came before also. So let us be born there. Smritim etadrisha atsukya smarnam yuktam. Tatascha tatra sadhu sangam kritva harim bhajishyama Yadesmat bhastam harim shantananti. So why? Because there we will get the chance to associate with sadhus, with devotees and the Lord. Because in other places you don't have that chance to associate. And then Lord will be pleased with us. So this is the end of their prayers. And now Sri Sukadeva Goswami, he is concluding this chapter. Jandubu Deepasya Rajan Deepa Nashtau Haikah Updishanti Sagaratmajair Chanveshana Imam Mahim Parito Nikhanadbhir Upakalpitan. So earlier he said that Jambudvipa had 9 divisions. All these different varshas which we read, Ketumal Varsha, Ramanyakajadvip, but this Hiranya and Uttarkuru. So these are the various varshas of Jambudvipa. So he says when the sons of Sagara, there was a king Sagara, and they were searching for the horse which was stolen by Indra. Then they did a lot of digging. That's how the earth got divided. So he says these are the 9 major divisions, but there are also other 8 divisions which he is going to speak here. Tadyatha Swarnaprastha Chandra Shukla Avartana Ramanaka Mandar Harina Panchajanya Singhalo Lankayati. So these are Swarnaprastha, Indra Shukla, Avartana, Ramanaka. Ramanaka is where Krishna had sent Kaliya, snake. That you go to Ramanaka Dweep. So this is also some small island. Mandar Harina, Panchajanya, Singhala and Lanka. Lanka is still there, it's also an island.
Before the digging, it was only one?
Before digging, they were all united.
So where was the water? Where was the water?
Water was already there, but they made digging, the water came around it. So, evam tav bharatottamam jambudvika varsha vibhago yathopdesham upayam. So he says, in this way, I have described to you the various divisions of Jambudvipa, and in that Bharata, India is the best. So this is the end of 5th canto. This is the description of Jambudvipa. In the next chapter, he is going to describe the other Dvipa, all this Shalmali Dvipa and Plaksha Dvipa. So that we will read tomorrow. There is still more description of the higher planets, lower planets, and all the hells will be described. So, if anybody has any question.
Azanap, what it means? Name of India, Azanap, what it translates?
Ajanav is translated as Ajay's name of Brahma,
A name of Brahma.
and now he is the navel, he was born from the navel. But it's also name of the, I think, father of Rishabdev, if I'm not wrong. So he was ruling, so in his name it was called Ajanav.
What we must to pray Lord Krishna to every desire. He fulfilled every desire. Yeah?
Yes. Yes.
But in one place, I wrote that Krishna give only spiritual desire, material desire not help, and he may make devotees very poor, and they have free time to pray to him. If you break money from Krishna, he will give. Only spiritual progress. Only Babaji, he's eyes closed, big tilak, only he can fulfill our money desire, material desire. This is, but this is forehand Babaji, a Krishna two hand.
Yes.
This is, is Vishnu Tattva, Krishna Tattva is not good if we pray to Babaji. We have this mistake maybe.
We can what?
If we pray Babaji, but devotees bend down and pray Krishna.
Yes.
Krishna two hand, Babaji four hand.
Right.
It is Vishnu Tattva. If we pray to a temple, Babaji opening the Parikrama. Sometimes I go there, but in Vrindavan, Gopi not pray to four hand Krishna, only two hand Krishna. If I pray Balaji, I am kind of will have some not good for devotees for Lord Krishna, for my bhakti to Krishna. If I pray Vishnu, or maybe sometime Dhanvantari for him, if I want to heal some desire. All time I must to pray to Krishna only.
Yes. Pray to Krishna.
Krishna is the extensions and Vishnu and Balaji.
Yes, everything is his expansion. There's no need to pray to anybody else.
Krishna.
It's simple, yeah.
If we pray Radharani and Krishna, it is no different, really separate.
There's no difference.
No different Islam.
Yes.
Because I wrote in one book that if we want Krishna like father, like brother, then like son, we must pray to Krishna. But if you want Krishna like husband, we must pray only Radharani. This is real position.
I never read anything like that.
You never read it?
Where did you read this?
We read it. This is in Srimad. I listen to Srimad Bhagavatam.
There's nothing like that. It's Srimad Bhagavatam.
I have Srimad Bhagavatam. Look at me in my computer. At night time I listen sometimes and give it. Only Radharani gives very Krishna. This is for me new information. All time I pray Krishna, Krishna.
Who is writing this? This is not
Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Srimad.
What is that?
Translate to Russian from Indian. I don't know who translated Srimad Bhagavatam. With Prabhupada translated, Russian translated.
Yeah, but there's no statement like this in Bhagavatam.
No. This may be anointed as Babaji, Vilapa Kusumanjali. Rupa Goswami. Raghunath Khadat Goswami, this. Maybe from this book.
English translation?
This translation to Russian. I have book Russian translation.
Maybe the translator has added something.
Maybe some problem.
This translator should also add something.
This may be mistake, yeah?
No, it's not mistake. He's doing it for the welfare of people. Because some people then can pray to Radharani.
Srimati Radharani more graceful, yeah?
Yeah, Radharani is more merciful. So then you can have Krishna as your husband.
She not really very.
Sounds like Krishna playing jokes or something. With this.
English not very good. Some joke. They are good to the joke.
Joke is when you make people laughing.
To joke. Sometimes Krishna will go to Radharani.
Yeah, maybe this is a joke.
Radharani not is very high position. Must Lalita, там Rupa, то есть Rupa Goswami, all these Lord Siddhas, Guru Dev.
Yeah, first Guru.
Yes, Guru Dev.
Cannot jump Guru and worship Radha.
Yeah, very high. Only Hanuman.
She says that
Yeah.
she is the original Guru, Radharani.
First Guru is Radharani.
Radharani is not Guru of anybody. So it is written in Vilap Kusmanjali of Babaji Maharaj like this? What he's saying?
I didn't quite catch
He
it.
says that in Vilap Kusmanjali of Russian translation, it is written that if you want Krishna as your husband,
Yeah.
then you worship Radharani, right? Is it written like this?
I don't think so.
First
So
time
that's what I'm saying, maybe the translator has added this,
Yes.
just as a joke.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
else.
Sometimes
Russian
Radharani take his guru and they come to Krishna. And sometimes she is graceful.
Where did you get this Russian version from?
No, I have this book I maybe tried to find. Yes, Devapat Sumajani translated to Russian.
I guess
This is Canto, that's Babaji commentary.
at the, end of,
Okay, so then it's Saman and Radhika.
at the end of the day, if you get Krishna as a husband or whatever, you should be very happy that you get him. This is the ultimate.
If you get it.
Yeah. Everything else is gone.
Yes.
Oh, like
Easy husband.
from philosophy positions is no mistake because yeah, it seems like it's no mistake because all Guru is
Yeah,
blessing
right.
of Radharani, blessing all the time. This is no mistake. But Krishna is как бы, full himself. Only Radharani blessing can, as its spiritual soul come to him. This is maybe not mistake.
But Radharani herself is not married to Krishna. How she can give us name?
Maybe not married, maybe become to show to Krishna like some.
She herself is married to somebody else and she's going to make arrangement for you to get married.
Maybe not marriage because marriage is in Varaka position.
Yeah.
In down position.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's
not
the
marriage,
problem.
maybe become как servant. Servant and servant. But this
There is no marriage in Vrindavan.
yes, down
He was too young.
yes, only is in Varaka.
After Vrindavan he went to school.
Yes.
You cannot get married before you go to school. In India it is not allowed.
Yes.
And, you cannot be married and then go to school. That was not a custom. Understand? Now you can get married and go to university, college and study. But in India it was not like that. So
Maybe-
after Vrindavan, when he went to Mathura and killed his maternal uncle, and then he went to Gurukula to study. So how could he go to Gurukula if he was married?
Maybe this he wrote
Marriage
about.
happens when your education is over, then you marry.
Yes.
If you are not educated, no marriage.
Maybe I made a mistake, not marriage, become Manjari, maybe this. Not marriage, maybe not mistake, become to Manjari of Radharani, listen, only Radharani. Krishna no make Manjari. Marriage is mistake, is my.
Yeah, marriage is either that is a translator's
Maybe
mistake
translator
or that is a reader's mistake.
Okay. Maybe I understand. No, I think one marriage, Krishna only one, Radharani no in Vrindavan, no possible marriage. Okay, I think I understand.
My question will be rather boring in comparison. But you mentioned Dhruva Maharaj had desires and became pure.
Has?
He had desires, and then he became pure, free of desires. And then Hanumanji, he was always free of desires, so he was regarded as higher. In this, can you ask the question, at what stage do you make this equation? Was there a time when Hanuman also was having desires?
No.
Never.
No.
Okay.
But if it's this Hanuman, he wanted to get a son
For what?
for himself as a small.
Yeah, but when he approached Lord Ramchandra, he did not approach for any material motive.
So he wanted to get it for Ramachandra only.
In a childhood, he thought this is a fruit hanging on a tree.
Yeah. And still he had to become like
Little
So
monkey.
what is wrong with that?
simple monkey, you know.
He was monkey when he wanted the sun. He was
It
born-
shows his power.
I don't know, what is your question? What exactly is your question? I'm not clear.
I didn't have a question.
No, see, her question is clear, but now you're saying something else.
No, I just saw movie
Yeah.
like this about Hanuman, and that he had to become like for some time just simple monkey without any like power, and then he got this power back when he could use it nicely for Ramachandra.
Yeah, but the question here is not whether you have power or not power. The question is whether you have desire, whether you approach God to have some material desire fulfilled, or you approach God without any material desire.
Mm.
It's not a question whether his power was curtailed or he had power or no power. Question is, are you worshipping or approaching God because you want to gain something material from him, or you approach him just to serve him? So Hanuman did not approach God for any material motives. That is the point.
Mm.
I would have one question.
Well, my question is what really means purity then? Because
Purity means not having material desire.
desire, exactly. So then, if there is that kind of achievement, and when you achieve that, then, let's say, the heart is pure, it's clean, and because the desire is only for Krishna. And if different people are coming from different backgrounds, let's say.
Yeah, but the question is this only, that when you approach him, do you approach because you want something material?
Okay.
Or you approach him that I don't want something material, you may still have material desires.
That's why Dhruva has to have the planet,
Yes.
because he had this.
Everybody who is approaching God is not pure and perfect.
Mhm.
They have material desire, but they are not approaching God for that.
Mhm.
The loka, this is fixed loka. Fixed. Is around all planet moving from this middle. And I listen that what it tells the middle of the universe from Radhamadam Mandir. There is some middle of the world. And another listen that middle in the Himalaya mountain of Tamil.
Meru mountain. That may be in Russia.
Not so many positions, where is the middle of the world? Fixed up, loka.
Wherever you are, that is the middle.
No.
You are the center.
Big.
Everything is moving around you. Then
I am only the microbe.
everything is middle. Like if you take a circle, so you can put your point anywhere in the circumference. That is the beginning. That is the end.
From every point come to the middle. But scriptures tell that
You have a round ball. Wherever you put your finger, that is the center. Because everything is around it.
maybe in this Indian position.
Could you explain what you say that you will never be the same between the person who had desire and become purified from the desires, liberated from the desires, and the person in the jiva who had never any desire?
No, let's not never have any desire. This is the point I'm making, that so many people are taking to devotion. So there are two ways you can take to devotional service. One is that, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that there are 4 types of people who approach me. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukriti artho jigyasu artharthi jnani cha bhartash. That you can approach God because you are in a very distressful situation. And therefore you reach God because you want to get rid of your distress. And then you can also approach God because you want some power, position, wealth, or you want knowledge, or you approach God that you don't want anything, you just want to serve. So the question is whether you approach God because you want something from God, or you approach God that you don't want anything. You may still have desires, you may not be perfect beings, but you are not going to God that give me this, give me that. That is the point. Just before I came here, I got a call from somebody, and this person said, "Oh, I'm not going to worship my deities anymore." I said, "Why?" He says, "Because God does not care for me, and I want this, and He's not giving me." So he says, "Why shall I worship? He's not reciprocating. I'm going to put them away." So, that is one way of devotion, that I am worshipping because I want something. And if I don't get, why shall I worship? And there is another person who is worshipping, that I am just going to worship because this is what I want to attain. I want to attain love of God, and it doesn't matter, I have problems, I have this, I want this. But I am not going to God for that. I fall sick, I take care of my disease, I go to doctor, I get it cured. I have a desire that I want good health. But I am not praying to God, "God, please give me good health." It's not that I don't want good health. I have that desire that I want to have good health. But I go to God not for that. And there is another person, he is sick. There are people who go to God, "Please give me good health. If I have good health, I will do this for you." Right? I will make one chamara for you, or I will give one dress for you. So he is going to God. Now this person may also come to, after some time, realize that he should not ask anything to God. But this person will be considered as a lower devotee even after purification than the other one. That is what he is saying.
The Lord Chaitanya and the Lord Krishna believe in Kali Yuga, and now there is a flow Chaitanya. And now we must, if we will be died, we must chant Krishna or Chaitanya in moment of.
So you have to follow Shastra. You have to understand. You cannot imagine something in your mind, or somebody says this and somebody says that. So what is Shastra saying?
Chant Hare Krishna.
Chant Hare Krishna. What was Mahaprabhu chanting? He was not chanting his own name. So he is our ideal. Right? He is the founder of the Sampradaya. And he is saying Hare Nam. Right? Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtana. In 6th Shastra says Sri Krishna Sankirtana. He did not say Chaitanya Kirtana. So we have to follow what he is saying.
What is 30 years, there's a biography of Sant of Raja. I know that one devotee, maybe some from Sampradaya, they live in Vrindavan 30 years. But when he won't leave body, he go to Mayapur, and now Mayapur is more place for Kali Yuga to leave body. Tam no some mistakes, not
So where is it written?
Where is?
Yeah, which Shastra says this? I am not saying it is written in Saints of Braja. You can write anything in that book. You can write in the book anything and then print it. That does not become an authority. You can now write one book and take 50 names from Russia and saints of Russia. Right? Imagine. And write something, then people read, "Oh, he did this and that." Whether that person really existed or not, we don't even know that. So just because somebody writes doesn't mean anything. You have to see what Shastra said. In Bhagavad Gita, what does Krishna say? Tasmat Shastram Pramanante. 16th chapter says that your pramana, your authority is Shastra, not saints of Braj. That is not an authority. What some saint is doing, God only knows why he went. How does this author know that he went for like this? Did he speak with him? Did he see him? He just heard, and you hear so many things about so many people. When you go and talk to him, You go to Vrindavan and ask about me. You will hear so many things about me. I'm telling you. Then you come and see me, you may be surprised. And maybe 90% of that is not true.
No, just Babaji, Kishore Das Babaji. Maybe
I'm saying that did he see Gaurkishore Das Babaji who is writing
I
this?
don't see.
Did this Kapoor see him?
Couple
Did he meet him? Did you talk to him? Why are you going? Why are you leaving Vrindavan and going to? Maybe he had some other reason. Who knows? You know?
Some people speak.
People make their own stories.
Yes.
He makes so many stories.
Mm-hmm.
And stories are that which are liked by people. So don't go by these stories. These stories are okay. They are all right.
Shastri.
People don't read Bhagavad Gita. They read stories. Why not study Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is very clear. This is your authority Shastra, not the story. Not the story in the sense of love. There are so many things in that book which are just not true, I know. There are so many things. They are just against the Siddhanta. Vaishnava Siddhanta. How can some saint, Vaishnava saint, do this or say that, you know? Suddenly Pandit Baba, he got the desire to eat banana sabji. Right? And then he asked, you know, Kripa Sindhu Baba, and he went and he got 30 kg banana and he had 30 kg sabji. You know, how can he eat 30 kg? So all these types, and he actually went and stole the bananas from the garden. So this is a Vaishnava will approve this, that you go and steal banana because it's not true. He was known for his renunciation, and then he's going to do this. And then this is written in the book to glorify him. But because people like these types of things to you. Whether it is with Siddhanta or not Siddhanta, does it match the mood of that person or not? It's one thing. So those people who have lived with him, they told me that this is wrong. He will never do anything like this. But this is written in the book.
My point, no different from Vrindavan. This is Tattva, no good. This is scriptures, no different.
Yes.
I have a question. I've been chanting the Maha Mantra probably the last 5 years on and off. I've been somewhat connected to the Christian devotees and connected to other paths too, and I'm still not devoted to any one path, probably because of the lack of discipline, or just, I don't know. But I was told by a devotee yesterday, who was kind of a strong devotee, that I shouldn't kind of abuse the name, chant the mantra unless I'm, especially after chanting it for some time. If I'm not ready to surrender to a realized Vaishnava, then I should almost not chant the Maha Mantra, because it's kind of like using it to get high or using it as a drug, to like feel good. But if I'm not taking it further by submitting to somebody and getting guidance, then I maybe shouldn't even chant it at all. So I don't know, do you have any perspective on that in terms of, if I'm using it to feel good? I sing the Maha Mantra, I sing Krishna's songs, but I also sing Shiva sometimes and other, demigods. Should I not chant the Maha Mantra at all?
You see, this is the problem at present time.
Uh-huh.
At present time, what has happened that there is no system, there is no discipline, and people do what they think is good, or which makes
What feels good.
What feels good. If it
Yeah.
feels good, that is do. This is the mantra. This is the moral. This is the siddhanta. This is the principle of life. If it feels good, then you do it. Otherwise, junk it. So if smoking feels good, you smoke. If drinking feels good, if chanting mantra feels good, do it. If chanting Om Namah Shivaya feels good, then do that too. So there is a path, there is a discipline, there is a process. And depends what is your motive in life. If your motive in life is to do which feels good, then I say why you should not do it. But if your motive is to achieve what the scriptures are saying, which I am saying, that the motive is to attain love of God. then there is a process
Mm.
which you have to follow. You can't just say because I like, I do it, and I don't like that, but I don't do it. So these are two separate things, and we should know it very clearly and not mix it. So the answer to your question depends on what you want.
Mm. Do I want to feel good or do I want to follow
Right.
one path?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Because when you want to follow a path, then it is your feeling is not important in that. You may not feel good. You have to do it.
I can
because-
chant when I feel bad too.
Yes.
If I'm feeling like really bad one day, I
Because
still
then
chant.
you have to follow.
Yeah.
It's like if you go and work in a company. It's not that today I feel good, so I go and work. Today I don't feel good.
That's why I don't go. Yeah. So it's the same.
Yeah, it's not that you cannot do that.
Yeah.
Even in the material world, you have to go because
Responsibilities.
you have a
Yeah.
responsibility. You have
Yeah.
some people expect you to come and do your duty.
Mm.
So, even in material world, some discipline is necessary. But when it comes to spiritual things, people have no discipline these days. And the reason is because there is so much available on the
It's
internet.
like a million spiritual paths
Yeah.
available.
And everybody can go and write. And just because somebody writes or somebody prints a book, then that seems to become an authority.
Mm.
That guy himself may be complete.
Realize something and then prints it.
Yeah, he may not have any realization. He just feels good to write like that. Some people are just good writers.
Yeah.
Or they are good speakers. They just speak and they say, and then others get impressed. And that's
It's very common in America too. A lot of
America was
spiritual people or in the West to like mix 20 different paths together into a personal spirituality.
Yes.
That's like, changes day to day, and it's not like
because
one.
it feels good.
Yeah. But it might.
So they change everything. So whatever feels good and
So
then
it's kind of like a drug addict, kind of. They're just like
yeah.
taking these different feelings
And
and.
Americans are the best for that. Yeah, they are genius in mixing things and producing new ideas
Yeah.
and presenting it nicely. Their mastery is to present things nicely,
Hmm.
and everybody is convinced by that. So
Not
they are
yet,
born
no.
with that. It is in their genes. But that may not be spiritually beneficial. That is different thing. But it works.
Hmm.
You can have a lot of followers. You can also make money with it. You can become famous. Whether spiritually you gain something or not.
But the image is there though. You have a good image.
Yeah,
It's
energy,
created.
good, bad. Who has the authority to say that there is good energy or bad energy?
Mhm.
It's just question of feeling good. It is the same people who are stamping this is good. They will write a book, then they will go to another guy. He says, "Can you write some forward or some what do you call?
Yeah, it's forward. Yeah.
Documentation or
Like recommendation.
recommendation on the back side. Then he will
Testimonial.
write.
Yeah.
And when he will write the book, then he will come to me. So I'll read my
I'll write one for him.
So if you see these books which are popular, like 8 or 10 names,
Yes.
say Deepak Chopra or this Eckhart Tolle or that other man, famous. So if you see, then he is writing about him and he is writing about him and he is writing. So this is the circle. So
Mm.
you get into that circle, then your book becomes popular.
Mhm.
But who actually has the authority to decide what he says is right or wrong? Ken Wilber is another one, very famous writer.
It's more about knowing what my intention is, I guess, or what's driving me. If it's feeling good, then
Yeah, but that is not the authority.
yeah, that's not.
Because today you feel good and tomorrow you don't feel good.
Mhm.
Authority is those who understand what is reality. They are not authority.
What is reality? Yeah.
They can say whether this is good or not good. Not these people.
So you don't think contemporary people can have realization?
No, you can have.
Mhm.
But you have to follow the discipline. Realization is meant only for contemporary people.
So some guy told me that awakening can happen even when an acorn can fall on your head. Like something can fall off a tree and hit you in the head, and then
How does he know? Because he read it
I think it happened to him actually.
somewhere.
So something fell off a tree.
No, it didn't happen to him. He read it somewhere.
He read it, yeah, I think.
He just read it.
Yeah.
And he becomes convinced because it sounds very nice.
It sounds easy.
It feels good.
Yeah.
We should go and stand up under some acorn trees.
Acorn trees and see what happens, yeah. Well, they have a movie. What was it called? Some American movie where these guys were taking these balloons and like popping them with their hand, and they'd be like, "Whoa, I had it for a minute. Whoa!" Like they were getting the awakening experience by like shocking themselves awake and be like, "Whoa, I'm here, man. This is it." Doing that over and over again, but I know that's not ultimately,
Because spirituality does not depend on these things. You
Yeah.
understand that spirituality is not depending because something fell on your head or you blew the balloon. Or, so that has nothing to do with spirituality.
That's not. Yeah, that's just.
There are
Mm.
such things are also talked a lot in Buddhism.
Just awakening.
We junk all that.
Other question. Raganuga Bhakti and the Sadhana Bhakti, all time must be together also. If people fight Raganuga, what I want to make to Krishna, but Sadhana is not good. This is possible, have spiritual progress, or only without Sadhana, morning time, chant, no ritual, no possible to Raganuga Bhakti progress.
Without sadhana, how will you progress?
No, that's
How can you progress without sadhana?
Raganuga Bhakti.
Whether it is Raganuga or whether it is Vaidhi, you have to perform sadhana.
Before Sadhana.
Without sadhana, of course, there are possibility that God can just give you grace, but don't depend on that.
Altogether. Maybe 10-20 years sadhana, then go to sadhana.
No, Raganuga is also sadhana. What do you go to Raganuga? There are two types of sadhana. There is Vaidhi sadhana and Raganuga sadhana. It's not that Raganuga is not sadhana.
Sometimes few devotees not go to Mangalarati, but they can sleep on Vimuna and chant Krishna, Krishna.
How can they sleep and chant?
I'm not sleep, I like, he not go to puja, not tam offering prasad, but all time he.
Because that feels good, that's what we are talking about.
Also.
It's not question of feels good here.
Feels good.
But that looks good to others also. Because going to Mangalarati is a little bit problematic.
Yes.
And then say, well, he is Raganuga, he's not following any rules. So that is the definition of Raganuga. If you follow rules, then you are a Vaidhi. If you don't follow any rule, then you are Raganuga. He goes to Yamuna bank, he lies down, he sleeps and he chants. He is Raganuga. So that's why there is a need to understand Shastra properly. It is not a question of a feel-good thing or somebody is saying it or somebody is doing it. What is the authority of the person who is saying it or who is doing it?
But if you question, Sihadeha must open only Diksha Guru, or can in Shiksha Guru? Maybe if Diksha Guru can give left body, Shiksha Guru can give Siddhadeha. Or only
You chants.
possible.
These questions cannot be answered. You have to have a specific case to answer these questions. There is no general answer for these things. Neither is a Shiksha Guru. What is the need for Shiksha Guru if you have a Diksha Guru?
Sometimes people left body, but he can go to another guru.
Yeah, so if Guru left body, then if you have taken education from him, then you will get also. Also revealed by the power of the name, then you have to go to somebody. That somebody may have a different mood from your Guru, then you will be in conflict. So you have to see the situation individually, you cannot just say it is right or it is wrong.